Hey everybody, welcome back to another Flea Market Finds episode, and this is going to cover items that I picked at the 2021 Fall Brimfield Flea Market that ran from September 6th to September 11th of this year. Let's dive right in. The first pick of the day actually ended up being a toolbox, which I'm going to cover in a little bit when I have more room on the workbench here. And as far as actual tool picks, first dealer I hit is a tool dealer that's there every year, and sometimes he has some stuff that I can work with. This was a little Starrett, I think it's a 4-inch. Yeah, so this is a little Starrett 4-inch precision level. Pretty clean, looks pretty good. No box or case. I got this for $25. The next dealer I hit put together a pile of Machinist tools that he had there and cut a deal and got and I was able to get this group of items from him for $50. This is a Starrett V-block, no clamp. This is a larger Brown Sharpe V-block. This is a 750, I think, or I forget. Anyways, it's got the original clamp on it by the looks of it, so not a bad looking block. Doesn't look like it has any major damage on it, just needs some cleaning. This little Starrett depth mic. It's a blade depth mic, but it's just a mic with one blade. And this is a really nice find here. In my entire time of tool hoarding, I have only ever come across one Brown Sharpe straight edge, and it was like new in the box, and that was actually just this past year, and I already sold it. And then, lo and behold, I come across this. It's a set of 5 of these Brown Sharpe straight edges, precision straight edges. So these tend to run kind of pricey. And actually, I take that back, guys. It's a set of 4. I don't know what this is. This appears to be a ground piece of glass that's in here. This must have something to do with proofing these, or what would you use that for? Well, anywho, for whatever reason, these darn things are expensive. They tend to bring pretty decent money for what they are. So I imagine this set of 4 with the original Hoojamadigi thing here and the original Brown Sharpe case, that I'm probably going to do quite well with this. So this is where most of the money was in this lot when I was figuring it. Hey, before I move on, I just want to revisit this this beveled knife edge straight edge set. So like I said, these separate, individual ones like this come up from time to time on eBay, but the sets are a little bit less common. And it turns out that this piece right here, this piece of glass that's in this little leather case right here, is actually a very rare piece. This is often missing, I guess, or not included in these sets. There were different variations of this set. This is called a master or test bar. And what it is it's actually supposed to be for proofing whether or not these things still have a straight edge on them. But the other interesting thing about these sets is that there were different variations of these sets. One of these, very similar to this, just recently sold on eBay. It brought $157.50. Shipping was free, but you could ship this in a small flat rate box. So the reality is that was real money on that thing, and there was 14 bidders. So there was a good little fight for this thing. And that set looked just like this, and it had the glass master in it, but it only had 3 of these edges. Mine is a 4, I guess you might call it a 5-piece set. But anyways, this is probably the buy of the week when I went to the flea market. Then, after I bought that from him, I looked through some boxes that he had, and I came across these items right here, and not knowing exactly what they were, but noticing that the label says Incra Stop, So I knew that this is some sort of a precision stop for an Incra like fence system or something like that for woodworking. And they tend to be kind of pricey. I have a nice Incra fence on one of my bandsaws. So it was an upgrade. Anyways, I don't even know if this is complete, if we're missing parts here, if this doesn't even belong to this, or what the deal is. See, this one says, this is a Profil, Swiss-made. All right, this apparently is a sharpening, some sort of a sharpening jig. Look at that. That looks like a carbide insert on the end there. Oh, that's interesting. So I'll have to look this stuff up. But I ended up giving 20 for this pile of mystery items. Took a chance on that. Figured I already got such a good deal on the first thing. I would willing to take a chance on the 20 that he insisted on this. But he also included what we found also in that box was this Starrett depth micrometer case. And since he only had this one depth micrometer, we kind of figured it might be for this one here. So unfortunately, it's missing 2 of the rods, but you know, it's a blade type micrometer, so not bad. And I paid 20 bucks for this lot. Another dealer I came across, I was looking through a box of stuff he had, and I stumbled upon this. This is a bevel protractor. It looks sort of like a Starrett or a Mitutoyo, but it is marked Made in Germany, CSE. I only have ever come across, I think, one other item, maybe a couple items, that have been marked Made in Germany with this CSE in a triangle, one of which is a height gauge. But it's actually a pretty nice one. It's got a satin finish, which makes it really easy to read. So I think originally it probably came with an extra small blade to go in here, to change from a large blade to the small blade. This piece of junk was in there. It's just a piece of scrap aluminum as far as I'm concerned, with a razor sharp edge. One of the latches is broken, but I got this for 12 bucks, so pretty happy with that. And then from the same dealer, I found in pieces in a box, I found this Herter's ink powder scale. And I was able to find all the pieces for it in the box, and I got this for 15. I've been doing pretty well with finding powder scales and reselling them. Any reloading equipment seems to be doing really well. So anyways, powder scale for 15 bucks. Probably going to turn that into a $10 or $20 profit, no problem. Then I had found a dealer who had some old Machinist oak toolboxes like Gerstner's, and I looked through the drawers and found a couple of items and thought I was going to get a really good deal on these, but he really was tough on me because he knew that these key seat cutters had value. These are Starrett key seat cutters, so these clamp onto a Starrett rule. I guess you could use them on others, and they basically help hold the rule parallel to a shaft when you're marking out the layout lines for key seats. So I got this pair here, and then this little Union twist drill gauge. Last one of these I had that was marked up in a way like this, where it had actually colored, you know, it was kind of colorful and kind of neat to look at. I actually I did really well. I think I got like 15 bucks for it. So anyways, I got these 2 items here for 22. Then I ran into a tool dealer that I had purchased several items from in earlier in the year, and he still had stuff. He, you know, and he wasn't giving the stuff away either, but by putting together a pile, I did okay. Ended up having to pay $90 for this pile right here. It's got a little cant twist clamp that I'm probably going to keep for myself. A nice good size Starrett center punch. A Starrett number 278 V block with no clamp, in really good condition. A general hand vise, an unmarked or no name hand vise. An old Alina indicator. This is kind of a neat one. It's got a lot of wear on the side here. I don't know what the deal is with that. But I had one of these before, and it was broken. And I sent it out, and it couldn't be repaired because the parts weren't available. But what I liked about it, and I thought was cool, was that it has this interesting little sub-dial. So you can actually see that little sub-dial move. Instead of having another hand, it actually has a little rotating disc in there with numbers on it. Which I hadn't seen one like that before, so I thought it was kind of neat. So I haven't decided yet. I might keep that for myself. I collect some of the odder indicators that I come across. And then this was actually where the money was. This looks like it's just a hunk of steel, but it's actually a Starrett straight edge. Starrett number 380 straight edge. And also in that lot was these 5 Starrett adjustable parallels. So these are 154s. So that's where a lot of the money was in this set. And then I came across another dealer, and he had boxes of stuff, and I was going through the boxes and found a few Machinist items, and I put together this pile for $40. These are a pair of, well, not really a pair, there's 2 Brown and Sharpe parallel clamps, early ones. One's a little larger than the other, so they're not a pair. This really early compact, I'm sorry, this is an Ames. Well, that's what caught my eye on this one. This is an Ames DTI, which I've had plenty of Ames drop indicators, and I don't think I've ever had an Ames dial test indicator like this style. And it works perfectly, which is kind of neat. This is a nice little surprise in this box, which was for hexagonal nuts. It's a Starrett 196, and it's like brand new. It even still has the little plastic sleeve that protects it during shipping. And unlike other 196s that I've come across, when they get old, they get all sticky and everything, this one's working perfectly. And the chrome's in really nice shape. This is actually a nice indicator. And this is the back plunge or back button style. Also in this lot for 40 was this nice little Starrett model 245 planer gauge with the 2 extension rods. And what appears to be some really old original paperwork in here too. This is a newspaper that for some reason was folded up and put inside the box. And the date on this newspaper is September 7th, 1952. Looks like it's the Boston Sunday Globe. Cotton Textile Mart features firmness and print cloth prices. That's out of New York. Yeah, right. You're not going to get much textile mill news these days unless you get a hold of a Chinese newspaper. So this is the business section. There's an article, Little Men from Mars Coming This Christmas. Basically, it's an article talking about how the newest, latest, greatest fascination that what the kids want for toys is rocket ships and robots and sci-fi stuff. Kind of neat. Modern Colorado prospectors put U.S. second in uranium mining. Man rides 14 miles clinging to train. Okay, enough of that. And the last item in that $40 lot was this right here in the original box. This is a Starrett. This is a Starrett number 46 depth gauge. Unfortunately, it's incomplete because this was kind of a neat thing. What you had here was you had this cross piece, and then you had this, which could be located either in this slot or this slot. But unfortunately, what's missing is the little thumb screw and special nut, special little clamping bolt that would go in here to actually hold this. So that's kind of a bummer. And then I came across a dealer that had an old toolbox that I looked through and looked like it had been picked pretty clean, but I found this bench block. Appears to be probably shop made. Somebody made this as a project. Judging by the way the holes are kind of offset, it's still got layout ink all over it, but it's still a good usable bench block for somebody. I picked this up for $5. I'll probably get 10 or 15 for it. And I have one other item after this last Machinist item. So this last Machinist item is an indicator I picked at a dealer that didn't really have much Machinist stuff, and I just kind of stumbled upon it. And it is a little DTI that I've never seen one like this before. It's got the switch on the side, sort of like a lot of the early Federals, or like the Last Word to change direction. This is working perfectly. And what I thought was really cool about this is the name on this. This is an indicator made in England. This indicator is made in England, and it's called the Spot On. Very proper English sounding way to say it. Starrett said they had the last word in measurements, and the English wanted you to know that they were spot on with their measurements. And it's an excellent shape. And this was just laying in a box like a piece of junk. Got this for $5. Might have trouble wanting to part with that one. I don't know. I was walking through dealer's stuff, and he just had boxes of stuff that clearly had just cleaned out a house, and it was just a mix of all kinds of junk. And I happened to spot this Radio Shack branded Pro 2050 model trunk tracker 800 megahertz scanner, and it was just like this. It had no adapter or anything. And then I dug around in a box of adapters, and he said, well, it might be in there. And he said, actually, he says, you're welcome to take any of those adapters if you find one that will fit it. And I went through and I looked, and I found this one for a Yamaha, probably for a Yamaha keyboard or something, and noticed that it was a 12 volt, and it had the positive center pin, which is what this particular scanner requires. So I was like, yeah, sure, if you're going to include it, I'll take that too. And I got this for $5 because there was no way that either one of us could tell whether or not this worked. So it's also missing the antenna, but I figured I'll rob the antenna off my other one here. I occasionally listen to my scanner here down in the shop, and the problem is that my current scanner that I've been using is another cheap buy. It's an old Bearcat BC, I think 850A or something like that. Anyways, it's not a trunk tracking one, so I tend to miss a lot of the conversation. I get like parts of it. It's a BC 550A. Oh, that's a good sign. Oh, we got audio. Appears to be scanning. So unlike my 550 there, which just has a button that says police, and you can press it and it kind of hones in on the local action, this one I'm going to have to program. But if it's got a weather button, we can use that to test it.
It was mostly cloudy. The temperature was 72 degrees, the dew point 66, and the relative humidity 81%. The wind was out at 15 miles an hour. The pressure was 30 points.
So it seems to be working perfectly fine. So looks like once I program it, get it all set up, I'll have a new scanner for my shop. Alright guys, so we're going to call this video a wrap right here. In the next episode of Flea Market Finds, I will feature the stuff that I picked at this same flea market 2 days later. Again, going to be mostly Machinist tools. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button, and if you're not already a subscriber, please consider subscribing. Take care.